Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Monday, the 31st and final day of July. Good to have you aboard. We are a Blue Wire podcast presented as always by Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, title sponsor of everything ZASLOW Show 2.0. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. And of course, that also includes the most recent episode, yesterday's episode of It's Still Real to Me. That's a ZASLOW Show 2.0 wrestling podcast. We get you caught up in all the big stories in the world of pro wrestling every weekend. And yesterday we had another great episode. And of course, like I said, that is also presented by our title sponsors, Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. 800-747-3733. So we got a lot of fun stuff to get to here today. Speaking of which, It's Still Real to Me wrestling podcast. You can still catch up on yesterday's episode. We got a lot of stuff that we recapped. Last night, though, I haven't watched an NXT pay-per-view in a while. Last night was NXT Great American Bash. I enjoyed that. I thought that was a fun show. So we did some of that last night. We caught up on our shows over the weekend, me and my wife. All right, you could always do that on the weekend. That's a fun thing to do because it's 1,000,000 degrees outside. I go outside to take out the garbage. I'm out there for a total of 2 minutes. I'm already sweating. And everyone's going through the same thing. You guys all know what I'm talking about. It is unbearable to be outside. We're spending a lot of time in the pool, obviously here at the ZASLOW Mansion. You got to take advantage of the pool because you just go outside in the summertime, you're sweating your balls off. It's impossible to be outside. So anyway, we did a lot of pool over the weekend. We watched some shows. We had pro wrestling last night, NXT Great American Bash. Like I said, thought it was a fun show. I did not go yesterday. I know I had a couple people who reached out. ZASLOW, are you going to WWE Super Show? It was at the University of Miami yesterday. WWE had a house show. I was always a game time decision. I was like, maybe I'll buy tickets at the last minute. We'll see. But it was a couple things. Number one, I went to WWE at the beginning of the week. My son and I, thanks to WWE for setting us up, we went to Monday Night Raw, in Tampa. And, all right, so I saw WWE this week. You know what I'm saying? So that played a role in me deciding not to go yesterday, driving down to the University of Miami for WWE Super Show. Saw WWE already this week. But really the main reason, so hungover yesterday. I can't do it anymore. I can't hang. I'm 42 years old. And I don't know, did I have a lot to drink on Saturday night? Maybe, what's a lot, right? I had a handful of drinks. We were out to dinner with some friends. We had a nice time. We brought it back to my house, to the ZASLOW Mansion. Had a few more drinks. We watched a little bit of wrestling on Saturday night as well. You had, AEW Collision. Collision's a good show, by the way. Really good show. Really good episode again. Had some more drinks back at the house. So hungover on Sunday. So that was the main culprit as far as why I didn't go to WWE Super Show yesterday at University of Miami. I got to stay home. I can't leave the house. So yesterday, very sleepy, very lazy Sunday afternoon in the ZASLOW Mansion. Otherwise, the thing that stood out to me over the weekend, what a tremendous turnout at Lone Depot Park. So the Marlins, look, we got Dolphins to talk about today. The Jalen Ramsey news officially came on Friday where he had the surgery. He's going to be out for most of the season. Obviously, that's huge news. We're going to talk about that. The NBA sends out a memo chastising Damian Lillard and his agent. The Miami Heat have done nothing wrong, but chastising that whole scenario is the NBA picking on the Heat. That's going to be our main story for today. So hang tight for a second here. Over the weekend, the Marlins took 2 out of 3 against the Detroit Tigers. Come from behind. Yesterday, they salvaged the series. You don't want to lose 2 out of 3 to Tigers. And David Robertson, the relief pitcher, he closed the game yesterday for the Marlins. Probably the best relief pitcher on the market. The Marlins, Kim Ng, they went out there and got him a few days ago. Made his debut yesterday. Excellent job. Come from behind win. Marlins win 8-6. They were down 4-0. Marlins win 8-6. They sewed that one up yesterday. They win the series 2 out of 3 against Detroit. But the big story Miguel Cabrera. He's retiring this year. It's a tough one, right? Because if you were to say, who's the all-time greatest Marlin? Oh, Jeff Conine, Mr. Marlin. Come on, don't be silly, all right? Yes, Jeff Conine is a legendary Marlin, but that's not what we're asking here. Who's the greatest Marlin? And it's tough because the Marlins have had a lot of great hitters. And the problem in deciding who's the greatest Marlin ever, they haven't been here long enough. They're here for a few years, 4 or 5 years, and then they get traded away, right? So you're talking about guys like Miguel Cabrera, Giancarlo Stanton, Hanley Ramirez, even going back, Gary Sheffield. They're just not here long enough. Who's the greatest Marlin? But I think a very strong case, can be made for Miguel Cabrera. And Miguel Cabrera made his final appearance this weekend, played Friday and Saturday, not play yesterday. He had a couple hits, I believe, on Saturday, including a double. But, he's having a really rough year. It's the end for Miguel Cabrera. And what a tremendous ovation he got Friday and especially Saturday. So Saturday, 32,000 people on Saturday to see off Miguel Cabrera. Now, you hope a lot of that crowd is also because the Marlins are in a wild card chase here. And also, it was Venezuela Appreciation Day or Venezuela Heritage Day. Let me tell you something. Whenever they do the Venezuelan Heritage Night, you get major crowd. Now, it helps that, hey, the Marlins' best player, Luis Arraez, Venezuelan. It also helps that you're sending off, for the final time, Miguel Cabrera, Venezuelan. But anytime there's Venezuelan Heritage Appreciation Night, whatever they call it, you get a massive crowd. They should do Venezuelan Appreciation Night every weekend. At least once a week, we should do Venezuelan Appreciation Night, Venezuelan Heritage Night, whatever they want to call it. Because whenever the Marlins do it, the Venezuelans, they get out there to the ballpark. And it's such a fun atmosphere. When you can go to a baseball game and there are people there, it really is a major difference maker as far as the atmosphere for a baseball game. I remember I went to Yankee Stadium for the first time. That was 4 or 5 years ago. I was in New York for the weekend, and me and my buddy, we went to Yankee Stadium. We caught the Yankee game. And there's a lot of people there. This is a very different experience than when you go to a Marlins game. Saturday, 32,000 people. I'm telling you, every weekend should be Venezuelan Heritage Nights. Why not? They come out to the ballpark. They love going to the game. But most importantly, so Miguel Cabrera comes up to bat. First time he's coming up to bat on Saturday. And boy, does he get a huge ovation because we all know he's not playing on Sunday. He doesn't play every day anymore. This is going to be his final game ever here in Miami. He spent his first 5 years with the Florida Marlins. I think you could make a case he's the all-time greatest Marlin player. A surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. Triple crown a few years ago when he won MVP. That hadn't been done in 1,000 years. And hey, his debut year, 19 years old, 2003. They win the World Series, and he was a major part of it. Opposite field home run off Roger Clemens in the World Series after almost getting the sweet chin music from Clemens. He goes oppo, home run like it's nothing off Roger Clemens. And by the way, his first ever game, a home game against the Tampa Bay Rays, walk-off home run in extra innings. His first ever game with the Marlins. He was only here 5 years. Legendary Florida Marlin. I think you can make the case greatest Marlin ever. Now we're talking hitters, differentiate between hitters and pitchers. But even if you want to do it just all-encompassing, I think you can make the case Miguel Cabrera, all-time greatest Marlin. I think you could do that. If you're going to throw in pitchers, of course, then you're talking about guys like Jose Fernandez, of course. You're talking Dontrelle Willis. But I think it's easier when you do it an everyday player. And the ovation that Miguel Cabrera got when and it was a cool thing, because you got the pitch clock now, right? Good on the home plate umpire and Jacob Stallings. Stallings was clearly stalling in some fashion to allow for the crowd to give Cabrera this huge, long standing ovation where we don't have to worry about the pitch clock. Hey, get in the box. The clock's running there. Oh, like, can you imagine the crowd is giving this big ovation for Miguel Cabrera? He's, he takes off the helmet. He's waving at the crowd. Strike one. You took too long. You can't do that. So Stallings was stalling behind home plate to allow for it. And a good job by the home plate umpire recognizing the situation. Some things are a little bit bigger than the rules. All right. And this is one of those things. This moment here for Miguel Cabrera, much bigger than the rules. Excellent job by the home plate umpire. Excellent job by the catcher, Jacob Stallings. And Miguel Cabrera, not only is it cool that he gets this massive ovation, 32,000. When's the last time 32,000 people were in that ballpark? Had to have been the All-Star game and Home Run Derby. We're talking 5 or 6 years ago, or whenever the last World Baseball Classic was. That was recent, right? You're getting 32,000 people. But for a Marlins game, 32,000? I mean, do you have to go back to the first ever game? 2012, Josh Johnson pitching. They lose 1-0 to the Cardinals. Is that the last time? So you get this massive ovation for Miguel Cabrera. And it was so cool because obviously Miguel deserves all of it. But we never get those cool moments at that ballpark because there's never people there. You're getting 8, 9, 10,000. Now, I know the crowds have been much better, like Friday and yesterday. Crowds like 15 and 18,000, which, hell, those are great crowds for Marlins games. You get 18,000 yesterday? Great crowd. Because when the lower level is pretty much full at that ballpark, that building gets loud. And it looks packed if the lower level is full. So if you're getting 15 to 18,000 in the ballpark, that's a great crowd for a Marlins game. They had 32,000 on Saturday. That's 5,000, 6,000 short of a sellout. That's a monster crowd. And it was there. Look, I'm telling you, every week we should be doing Venezuelan Heritage Nights. Why not? And obviously you're there to see Miguel Cabrera, and he's one of yours, so you want to send him. He's one of yours because Venezuelan, and he's one of yours because Marlins, So really cool weekend at Lone Depot Park. And it does feel like there's a little bit of momentum there. I mean, the Marlins, look, they're in the wild card chase here. They won the 2 out of 3 against the Tigers. They split the games against the Rays. So they've won 3 out of their last 4 games. They won on Wednesday against the Rays, and then they took 2 out of 3 this weekend against Detroit. So as far as the wild card standings go, the Marlins are back in the mix there. They're second now of 3 wild card teams. They're a game back of the top spot, San Francisco. They're a half game up on the first team on the outside looking in, which is Philadelphia. And don't look now, because the Chicago Cubs, who recently had, a 7-8 game win streak snapped, the Cubs find themselves just 3.5 back of one of the wild card spots. So it really seems like if you want to include the Cubs, you got 6 teams right now fighting for 3 spots. The Marlins are second. Coming up next to the Marlins, they begin a series tonight with the Phillies. It's here at Lone Depot Park. So this is a huge series because the Phillies, like I said, they're a half game back of the last wild card spot, which is actually a tie for 2 and 3 right now between Miami and Milwaukee. So very big series. Edward Cabrera on the mound tonight for the Marlins. You got 3 games here coming up against the Phillies beginning tonight. And yeah, this is huge because this is a really tough part of the schedule. You got the Phillies here who have been hot for a while now. You got the Texas Rangers this weekend in Arlington who just traded for Max Scherzer. So the Texans are all in. And then you go from Texas to Cincinnati. You got 3 games at the Reds. And we know the Reds, just like the Marlins, are a super surprise team. The Reds right now, the reason the Reds are not one of those wild card teams, because they are atop the NL Central now. You got Milwaukee, who is now in the wild card chase, because they're now a half game back of the Reds, when Milwaukee, for the most part, has been leading that Central Division. So this all goes back to, it feels like there's a bit of a momentum going on right now with the Marlins, where people are coming out to the ballpark. You got a fun little team. And I told you this like a month and a half ago. And I'm in on the Marlins. But before I was in on this team this year, I told you like a month and a half ago, you still got to prove it to me. And what I mean by prove it to me is today's the deadline. I think today's the trade deadline. Today or tomorrow? I think it's today. You got the trade deadline either today or tomorrow. And the Marlins already made a pretty big move by bringing in Dave Robertson. You saw him yesterday get the save. Are the Marlins going to make another move before the deadline, maybe to add a bat? Maybe add a bat at shortstop. I mean, that'd be what you're looking for, right? Now, I know there's part of the complication there, and this has happened with the Cubs. The Cubs were looking like they were going to be sellers. They may not do anything. They may be buyers, but it doesn't look like they're going to be sellers now. They've made this run. They're only 3.5 back. There are so many teams who are in it. You know, as far as the National League goes, you got the 3 teams leading the division. And then, like I said, you really have 6 more teams fighting for a wild card spot. So that's 9 teams. If you want to make the case that San Diego, who's 5 out of a wild card spot, if you want to throw them in and say, hey, we had high expectations, maybe we can make a run here. Our run differential favors us. You know, maybe we'll start getting some good luck. That's 10 teams right there that find themselves in the race in the National League. And then in the American League, you could really do the same thing. You got essentially 7 teams fighting for 3 wildcard spots. You got 10 more teams in the American League. So in baseball, where you got 30 teams, 20 of them are making the case, most likely, we think we're in the race. And that's what happens when you add playoff teams, when you add wildcard teams. It gets harder to make trades at the deadline here because you got teams, every team thinks that they're in it. But the overall point was, can the Marlins make another move before the deadline here that signals to all those doubters who are like, hey, show me that you're going to open up your wallet, Bruce Sherman, and spend some money here. So today, tomorrow, pretty important day for the Marlins to prove to everyone else who is still doubting the motives of this team, we're in it. We're trying to make a run here. Come on out to the ballpark. And this is important because it's the first year. Look, Jeter's long gone. His poison in the front office is long gone. And it's important for this ownership group to show the fan base the first time that we're in this thing, and this has been the first time that they've been in it since Bruce Sherman bought the team. I can't count 2020. It was such a phony year, 60-game season. This is the first time that they're in it. Show the fan base we're willing to spend if this team is in it. It's an important stretch here. It's an important 24 hours for the Marlins right now. Do they go out and make another big move? Now look, you know, you're listening in the future right now. You may be saying, ZASLOW, the Marlins, they did it. They went out and they got a big move. What are you talking about? Well, you're listening to the future. I'm in the past while I'm recording this. All right, so you got to cut me some slack. You got to give me a break. So there you go. That's what's going on with your favorite baseball team. Let me tell you, though, real quick here. Maybe you're thinking about treating yourself. Well, I'm going to send you my favorite car dealership. The only car dealership I personally endorse. I'm talking about North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. If you're thinking about entering the market for a new car, the only place I'm sending you is where you walk in the showroom doors and a member of North Fort Lauderdale Subaru's friendly sales team, they're going to ask you what you're looking for. Maybe you want an SUV for the family. Maybe just something simple for yourself. They're going to navigate you in the right direction because North Fort Lauderdale Subaru carries the widest inventory of newest Subaru models on the market. That includes the Outback, the Crosstrek, the Forester, the Ascent. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, conveniently located on North Andrews Avenue, just north of Cypress Creek Road. The building you know, the place to go, NFLSubaru.com. You could shop right now from the comfort of your own home. Hey, take the summer off with North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. Make no payments for 90 days when you purchase any North Fort Lauderdale Subaru in stock. Go visit right now, NFLSubaru.com. Don't take my word for it. Go see for yourself in person. Again, the only car dealership I personally endorse, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. Also, guys, I was telling you, great day as far as swimming is concerned yesterday. Super hot. You got the sun. We're sitting out there on the sun shelf in the ZASLOW Mansion family pool out back. I got a Johnny Cuba in my hand. Of course, that's how we enjoy a nice day sitting by the pool. I got myself a 6-pack of the official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0, Johnny Cuba. You don't know about Johnny Cuba yet? Listen, go out to your local Sedano's, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. If you don't have any of those near you, you send me a message, send me a DM, all right? Slide into my DMs. Say, this is where I live, Zaslow. Where can I pick up a Johnny? And then my man Juan from Johnny Cuba, he tells me exactly where you could pick one up nearest where you live. We're talking European roots with a Caribbean soul, a refreshing German lager in a can. Johnny Cuba, the only beer we keep in the ZASLOW mansion. Remember, you always got to drink responsibly. And of course, don't ever forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo, because more is always brewing. All right, so we got some Dolphin stuff to get to. Hold on. But let's get to the main attraction today as far as the big sports stories down here. And so this came out, I think it was on Friday or Saturday, maybe it was Saturday actually. So the NBA sends out a memo to all 30 teams in the league about the Damian Lillard situation. And the crux of it is the NBA, they interviewed Damian Lillard, they interviewed the agent Aaron Goodwin, they talked to other teams. The NBA is not happy with the idea that Damian Lillard won't play for a team that trades for him unless it's the Miami Heat. Here is Shams Charania from The Athletic. He's on that show, The Stadium, I think it's called. And here, after he just got hold of the memo, here he gives some detail.
The NBA told its teams that they spoke to Goodwin, they spoke to Lillard, and that Goodwin essentially denied telling teams that he told them that he only that Lillard would only play in Miami. And so from what this memo states, the NBA also spoke to other teams. And essentially they were given the messaging as well that Goodwin's statements were consistent for the most part. So this is relevant information because for the league to take the step of going in and interviewing Damian Lillard, going in and interviewing his agent, really informing them to essentially knock off any potential rhetoric about only wanting to be traded to Miami.
All right, so this is the major news in the NBA right now, and of course it directly involves the Miami Heat. The league is not happy. They're sending out a memo, and here's the interesting thing. So the agent told the league that he did not tell teams Damian Lillard will not play for you. And apparently the teams that the league interviewed echoed that statement that the agent made, Aaron Goodwin, that he didn't exactly say that. Now the agent has made it clear. Hell, he's been quoted directly. He has made it clear, his client, if a team, not Miami, trades for him, he will be unhappy. Hey, that's not saying his client's not going to play for them. That's not saying he's not going to honor his contract. He's allowed to be unhappy. I mean, look, if Cleveland trades for you, would you be happy? No. If Utah trades for you, if Oklahoma City trades for you, and I'm not talking about the quality of teams because actually, two of the teams there, the quality teams, are actually pretty good. But I'm talking about, hey, do you want to live in those cities? Nobody wants to live in Cleveland. So of course you're not. If you trade for my client Cleveland, he's not going to be happy. Yeah, he doesn't want to live there. But nobody's saying he's not going to play for you. So the league sends out this memo. And the first thing you're thinking of, all right, the Blazers, Joe Cronin, the general manager of the Blazers, they clearly went and cried to the league. And now you have a scenario where the player, Damian Lillard, who may be the most popular player in Blazer history, I don't know that he's the greatest player in Blazer history. I mean, Bill Walton won a championship there. Clyde Drexler took them to the finals twice. I don't know that Lillard's the greatest Blazer, but he might be the most popular Blazer ever. And now he's essentially being tarred and feathered, in the middle of the town square for everybody to see. So now you got an ugly situation. Zaslow, what do you make of all this? Now look, I told you this in the past. Everybody hates SiriusXM NBA radio. You guys know I listen to SiriusXM NBA radio all day, all right? And my pal Justin Termini, who hosts the afternoons there with Eddie Johnson. You guys hate his guts. Not Eddie Johnson. You hate Termini. Termini, big-time Heat hater. You guys hate Termini. But Termini's my pal. He's excellent. And he asked me a couple weeks ago, what do you make of this Lillard situation? Because our sensibilities are very similar if we take the bias out of it. So I was like, hey, what do you think about this Lillard situation? I'm like, I hate it. I like it for my team. But if I'm going to look at it objectively, I hate this shit. All this player empowerment crap. Go ask the Portland Trailblazer fan, do they like player empowerment? The player empowerment has Damian, let's be fair. Let's be fair for a moment here. The player empowerment has Damian Lillard dictating he will only play, I know he hasn't said that specifically, but we understand what's going on. He is saying that he will only go play, or at least happily or willingly, for the Miami Heat. And hence, he's forcing his way to Miami by scaring off the other teams. Good for Damian Lillard. Terrible for the Blazers. Terrible for the Blazers. Because now they don't have other offers from other teams so they can pick the best deal, and they can pit them against each other and then help the rebuild and help their current team. And that's what the Blazer fan wants. The Blazer fan, as much as they like Damian Lillard, they care more about the Portland Trailblazers than they do Damian Lillard. I mean, Glenn Rice is my all-time favorite player. I love Glenn Rice, man. My hero growing up as a kid. And the best thing about Glenn Rice is, as great a player was, he's even a better dude. He's my friend now. It's crazy, all right? I love Glenn Rice. But I care more, once Glenn Rice is traded, once he's not on the team anymore, I care more about the Miami Heat doing better than Glenn Rice doing better. I want the Heat to do well above Glenn Rice doing well on his next team. And so the Blazer fan, and same thing, by the way, with Dwayne Wade. You want to use Dwayne Wade? Who willingly left the Heat, okay? Because Rice was traded? Fine. Love Dwayne Wade, right? The Heat fan wants the Heat to win before Dwayne Wade to win with Chicago or Cleveland or wherever else. So the Blazer fan can love Damian Lillard, but once he's not on the team anymore, they care. Maybe they want Lillard to have success, but if they had the choice between Lillard having success somewhere else or the Blazers having success, they want the Blazers to have success. So how does the Blazer fan feel right now about player empowerment, where Damian Lillard is doing everything he can, everything in his power to force his way to Miami? That's fine for Damian Lillard. It's terrible for the Blazers. Hence, terrible for the Blazer fan as well, which is why, and we've been through this a million times, I'm always pro-team. You could call it pro-management if you want. How could you side with billionaire owners? You can call it pro-owner if you want. I'm pro-team because the team's goals are always going to align with my goal as the fan. And Damian Lillard, the star player for the Blazers, his goals will align with the team until they don't anymore. And now his goals align with what is best for him. And what is best for him is forcing his way to Miami while at the same time making it so no one else is making any offers, and then the Heat don't have to give up as much, and he has an even better chance of winning in Miami. That's great for Damian Lillard. Terrible for the Blazers. Terrible for the Blazer fan. Player empowerment is bullshit. So you end up getting this memo from the league. And come on, let's be fair now. Putting any Heat emotion aside, the reality of this situation is this. This league is out of control. The players are doing whatever they want. They sign contracts. They don't care about fulfilling them with the team they signed it. They play some nights. They decide, I don't want to play here. I don't want to play here. I have to rest. The NBA player loves complaining. Oh, the NBA player loves two things more than anything else: not playing and complaining. The league is out of control. And a lot of it is on Adam Silver. You know what Adam Silver's like? He's like the parent who, instead of being a parent to their teenager, wants to be best friends with their teenager, wants to be friends, and then is surprised when the teenager is out of control and now they don't know what to do and they don't know how to handle it. Because this whole time, they've been best friends with their child. instead of being a parent with their child. And now they've lost control. Adam Silver has been so concerned with being the anti-David Stern. He's been so concerned with the league, with the union, with the players loving him, that now the players are out of control and he doesn't know how to fix it. You can't put this back in the box. He doesn't know what to do. I mean, how could the owners be happy with their commissioner, the guy they employ? The commissioner, Adam Silver, works for the owners, and he has become so buddy-buddy with the players. He is so soft, the softest commissioner in sports, that now this league is out of control. And this is his legacy. As far as I'm concerned, this is his legacy. The players are allowed to do whatever they want. And it's bad for the NBA. If you want to have control, sign one-year deals. Every year you're in control. Every year. But if you want the money, like Jaylen Brown just signed for $300 million the other day. At some point during this contract, if he demands to be traded, the Celtics can say, no, we don't want to trade you. But then Jaylen Brown's going to make a stink, or if it were James Harden, he's going to wear a fat suit. Jaylen Brown, if he wants to continue having control of where he plays, sign one-year deals. Oh, but then you don't get the security of the money. You don't get the guaranteed money. You can't have it both ways. The team will guarantee you $300 million, but now you lose flexibility. We're in control now. You're going to play for us unless we decide to trade you. Oh, you don't like that? Okay. Sign one-year deals. We'll have this conversation every year. Sign it up. LeBron James and Kevin Durant did this for a couple years too. LeBron didn't trust the Cleveland Cavaliers. So LeBron, each year in Cleveland, and I believe his first year in LA, LeBron, he didn't want to allow Cleveland to have control of his future. He signed 1+1 deals every year. 2-year deals, the second year is a player option, a 1+1. So every year, he is in control of where he plays. He is in control of what he does. He's in control of what happens to him. He could have given away that control and gotten the guaranteed hundreds of millions of dollars. But it was more important to LeBron to be in control of where he plays. So he signed 1+1 deals. If you're going to sign for all the money, you lose the flexibility and control. If you want the flexibility and control, you don't get all the guaranteed money at once. It's that simple. Once you sign that contract, you're making a choice. And look, here's the thing. Why is the NBA, why is this the only league where this happens? Where are all the baseball players demanding trades? Where are all the baseball players refusing to play for the team that's going to trade for them? Where are all the hockey players demanding trades? Where are all the hockey players refusing to play for a team that trades for them? Now, football too. Where all that would happen once in a while. Hell, Jonathan Taylor is having a major dispute with his owner, Jim Irsay. So that seems to be an extenuating circumstance. But where are all the NFL players demanding to be traded and refusing to play where they're traded to? Now, the NFL is not an apples-to-apples comparison. Hey, NFL players, they don't honor their contracts. They hold out all the time. Completely different scenario. That's a one-sided contract that they're signing in the first place. The money is not guaranteed, and teams can cut you in the middle of your contract and not give you the money that you signed on the dotted line for. The NFL contracts are inherently one-sided against the players. The only recourse, the only course of action the players have when they want a new contract or want to get paid properly is to hold out. They're inherently one-sided deals, not in favor of the players. It's not the same thing. I totally support NFL players when they hold out. Everything Saquon Barkley just did, totally support Saquon Barkley. Doesn't mean it's going to work out for him, but totally see where those guys are coming from. The NBA, it's the only league, the players are so entitled, they never want to play, they always complain, and they don't honor contracts. It's the only league where this happens. Why? Why is it the only league? The commissioner has allowed an environment where this is okay. Softest commissioner in sports. And look, let's be clear about this. The Miami Heat have done nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. They're going to wind up, excuse me, they're going to wind up being the beneficiary of this situation, and that's why I'm a massive hypocrite. Because I'm okay with what's happening right now, and I'm going to be okay with it once Damian Lillard gets the Miami Heat, because it's helping my team. I'm a huge hypocrite. I'm pro-team. This is going to help my team, so I'm good with it. But I'll be the first to raise my hand and tell you, I'm a huge hypocrite. I hate this stuff. I didn't like it when Alonzo Mourning did it. Alonzo Mourning was traded, what was it, in 2005? He was traded from New Jersey to Toronto, refused to report. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. But I was okay with it because he's refusing to report because he wants to come back to the Heat. So, I'm good with it. Do it, man. Whatever it takes to get back here. If I'm going to take the emotion out, and if I'm going to be unbiased about it, it's bullshit, and I don't like it. But I'm glad it worked out for me and my team. But the Miami Heat have done nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. And like I said, I'm a huge hypocrite. I get it. I'm good with it as long as it helps the Miami Heat. But this is the only league in this country where this happens. It's bad. It's really bad for the league. Now, here's the frustrating part from a Heat fan perspective. I'll give you that in a second. First, though, I got to tell you guys where I get my homeowners insurance from. If you're a listener of ZASLOW Show 2.0, I obviously care about you. I want to make sure that you're covered. I want to make sure you're not laying awake at night wondering, what do I do about my homeowner's insurance? I've been going for about 10 years now. I get my homeowner's insurance from the top insurance agency in the entire state of Florida. Recently ranked top 5 in the country. Yeah, I'm talking about Brunt Insurance. Bruntinsurance.com, 954-589-2204. The only place I'm going to send you to get your insurance. I've been getting the most... No, homeowner's insurance can be expensive. You may as well go to the place that's going to get you the best rate anywhere. And that's why for about 10 years now, I give my money to Brunt Insurance to make sure that I'm covered as far as my home. Bruntinsurance.com, 954-589-2204. I get the most comprehensive and affordable care anywhere. If you call Brunt Insurance, you're making the right call. Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance, they have the expertise and experience to find the right coverage for you. And that includes comprehensive policies on trailers and motorhomes as well. Not all of us own a single family home. Hey, maybe you rent. Maybe you have a condo. Yeah, Brunt Insurance is taking care of you there as well. And it doesn't matter where in Florida you're calling from. From Pensacola to the Keys and beyond, Brunt Insurance, they have offices all throughout the state of Florida. Their team knows the market you're calling from. You can't just go onto Google and put insurance. It's confusing what's going on out there. Well, luckily, Brunt Insurance makes all of the confusing crystal clear. Their fully licensed staff helps you every step of the way. 954-589-2204, bruntinsurance.com. All right, so here's the frustrating part, though, from the Heat fans' perspective, right? James Harden's asking for trades every year, including right now. And including right now, he specifically wants to go to the Clippers. Kevin Durant specifically wanted to go to the Phoenix Suns. Kyrie Irving routinely requests a trade or refuses to play basketball. And this is frustrating for the Heat fan because the league is finally now taking a stand when it involves A, the Miami Heat, and B, legitimate good guy Damian Lillard. Like, those guys I just mentioned, I mean, Durant's been pretty professional. Like, Durant went about his request behind closed doors, essentially. But Irving, super unprofessional. Harden, super unprofessional. Damian Lillard has been a major professional. What do we talk? How many years in the league now? However many years, I don't know. 11 years, I think he's been in the league. The Miami Heat have certainly done nothing wrong. But the NBA, the league is now using this example to crack down. Now, I think that they have to crack down on all this. But the fact that they're choosing now and involves our favorite team, that's frustrating. And look, there is a major bias against the Miami Heat. Make no mistake about it. You see the reaction from fans and from media. I mean, The Ringer is a website now solely devoted to making sure Damian Lillard is not traded to the Miami Heat. The fans, the media, Lillard wanting to go to Miami, you see the reaction it's gotten. If these fans, the media, have been begging Damian Lillard for 2-3 years now to ask out of Portland. He finally does. He wants to go to Miami. No, anywhere but Miami. If he would have said he wants to go to the Lakers, if he would have said he wants to go to the Celtics, if he would have said he wants to go to the Knicks, if he would have said he wants to go to the Nets, any of these teams, you think it would get the same reaction from fans and media? Bullshit. Bullshit. It's because it's the Miami Heat. It's because it is Miami. Now, what I will push back against is saying the league has an agenda against the Heat. That's not correct. That's incorrect. You don't think the league wants Lillard in a market like Miami? You don't think the league wants Lillard playing in the NBA Finals? If he were to go to a market like Miami, you're getting lots of eyes. This is the biggest story in the NBA. And then you're getting that player who's involved in the biggest story in the NBA in a major high-profile market and maybe also playing in the NBA Finals. The league wants that. That's a good thing for the league. That's a positive for the league. The frustrating part is the league is finally making a stand, and it comes against the Heat. Take the bias out of it, and you understand what the league is upset about. But now, re-enter Heat fan, it sucks that the league is finally taking a stand, and it involves taking a stand in a scenario where it's our team directly involved. But now, fans and media, major bias against the Miami Heat. Saying the league has a bias against the Heat? No. You're not being realistic. You're not being realistic. You're being a little bit too biased in that spot. The league would love Lillard in a high-profile spot like Miami. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I got to push back against that notion. But yeah, fans and media, major bias against the Heat. Now the question is, does Lillard budge? What happens next, right? I don't believe he will. Because I think you now have a guy who probably is angrier now, a guy who feels betrayed by the Blazers, who the Blazers have seemingly dug their feet in against him. Like, you don't know what promises were made. If this doesn't happen, we'll allow this. If this happens, we'll give in to your trade request. You'll tell us where you want to go. And maybe the Blazers have not held up any part of their end of that deal. And on top of it, they have went and cried to the NBA. They went and cried to the commissioner. And like I said, a guy who's been a super professional, a great guy who loves Portland, they're now tarring and feathering in the town square. Lillard may wind up being even more steadfast in his demand now. Okay, the Blazers have dug their feet in. Now I'm going to dig my feet in. I'm definitely not going to give them what they want. Now I'm even more so set on Miami. I was thinking about adding a couple teams I'd be interested in. Now, not a chance. Now, I definitely only want to go to Miami, and I'm not going to allow you to get any kind of good deal from me in return. Now I'm digging my feet in even more. But like I said, on top of all that, we don't know what assurances the Blazers made to Lillard. Maybe he feels he was lied to. Maybe he was. Maybe he was lied to. So, it doesn't seem like I thought we were close. Because remember, what was it, like a few weeks ago how I said, I think we're probably closer to a deal than most people think because the agent Aaron Goodwin was super loud. And then he had a meeting with Joe Cronin, said it was very positive, and now we haven't heard from him. Maybe we're close to a deal. But now I'm starting to think maybe we haven't heard from the agent. Maybe he stopped complaining because, yeah, the league's been doing this inquiry. And they told him, hey, shut the fuck up. Like, that's probably why he hasn't said anything. Now, I saw there was a reporter out there, I think it was Sam Amick on Twitter, who said he's hearing around the league that people wouldn't be surprised if the NBA vetoes a trade to Miami. Let me tell you something. No chance. No chance the league would veto a trade here. No chance. Oh, but David Stern, everyone loves going back to this, right? David Stern vetoed the trade Chris Paul to the Lakers. No, he didn't. That is not what happened. What happened was the New Orleans Hornets did not have an owner at the time. So the league took over ownership. The league was running the team. The GM for the Hornets still made a deal. David Stern, the commissioner of the league, they were the owner of the team. The owner makes the final call on a major trade. And David Stern said, I don't like this deal. We got to get more for him. This is not a fair deal. He didn't veto a trade. Look, if the Heat are about to make a trade, and then Mickey Harrison says, I don't like the deal. We got to do something else. Mickey Harrison didn't veto the trade. He didn't come down with a hammer and say, vetoed. No, Mickey Harrison did not give his approval. He's the owner of the team. He has final say. That's what happened there. David Stern, acting owner of the New Orleans Hornets at the time, has the final say, and he did not approve of the trade. Didn't think it was a good deal. And he ended up being traded to the Clippers. We all know how that went down. Everyone loves mentioning that he vetoed the trade. No, he didn't. He didn't approve it. Didn't think it was a good deal. He was the acting owner of the New Orleans Hornets at the time. Now, I'm sure a lot of Heat fans out there are saying, why isn't anyone making a stink right now? This is actually an easy question. Why isn't anyone making a stink about James Harden not only demanding a trade again, but seemingly only being interested in going to the Clippers? Here's the answer, and it's not complicated. James Harden is not an important enough player in the NBA anymore. James Harden doesn't have any pull in this league anymore. James Harden's not as valuable as he thinks he is. And there's no real demand out there, as Daryl Morey and the Sixers are seeing, in James Harden. James Harden just isn't an important player anymore. And that's why no one's making a stink about this, and they're making a massive stink about Damian Lillard. That's actually an easy question to answer. So anyway, that's where we're at right now as far as the Lillard stuff. And it's a mess. And it sucks that this is happening now because it's involving the Heat. But we could all rewind to the very beginning of this conversation. This is a direct result of the softest commissioner in sports, Adam Silver, allowing the players to run amok. This doesn't happen in any other league here in North America. It's only the NBA. Why is that? This commissioner has allowed it to get to this place. That's it. It's really that simple.